complicated finding. But what they did is they adjusted their bank, their marketing materials and their branding so that it was more specific to this segment. Not a huge difference, but it made a big difference for these girls because they really feel like this is their product. This is their very own product. So those are some of the small changes in terms of marketing. Delivery, I've already mentioned it, talking about taking those products to the young people, could be via schools, via community centers or youth centers. And then the non-financial services that we've been finding really has to do with financial education, financial literacy, that are really a crucial component to getting these young people to save. You could offer them a savings account, but if you don't offer them the actual information, the education in terms of why it's important to save and how to save, then your savings product most likely probably won't take off. So it's very important. Some organizations are doing it themselves, but the vast majority of these banks and financial service providers are partnering with, it could be schools, it could be NGOs that are working with youth already to provide that financial education to young people as they grant them access to savings accounts or financial services. And the last thing I want to talk about is the importance of technology. And I know that we've talked a lot about technology, how this brings costs down, it really helps achieve scale. Equity Bank in Kenya has had tremendous success working through the M-Pesa platform. They've found that it's particularly successful for young people. Young people tend to be very tech savvy and tend to be very attracted to sort of new technological systems and means for accessing financial services. So that's definitely something that we're following and hoping to see more experimentation with technology, and that will really help achieve scale for these different products. I'm about out of time, so I will just drive you to our website and where we talk about some of the emerging guidelines in youth inclusive financial services, and this is really the basis with which we have developed our practical tools and training curricula. If you'll notice, the first one that talks about involve youth in market research and product development. We have 2 different modules that talk about how to do market research for young people and how to do product development for young people. And then this I'm not going to be able to talk about either. This is an example of different savings products at the Panabo Multipurpose Cooperative in the Philippines, and it talks a little bit about how the products are differentiated. You can also find that online on our website. And that's it. These are sort of the last words from our clients. So.
Thank you, Laura. I think that was also a good way to end because it left you, at least left me intrigued to try and find out more. So I would suggest for those organizations that want to better understand where there are opportunities, please reach out to Laura after the presentation, because Making Sense does some pretty terrific work and has a pretty good overview of the landscape. So, Franz, please step up to the plate.
All right. Good morning, everyone. This is based from our market research in Indonesia. So what I'm going to present is a brief about what is some highlights from our market research. And for anyone who interested to get the complete report, please drop me a name card, then I can send it to you by email, of course, because if postcard will be very expensive. And you will also can download it in Bengi WTP website and also on Making Sense website soon. All right, why are we doing this? I mean, the first reason why Plan International doing this is we implement what we call a Youth Economic Empowerment Project. It's a global partnership between Plan International and the World Bank. And the aim is we would like to facilitate both entrepreneurship and financial access to the youth. And we doing this in partnership with Berkeley and also with MicroSafe. So one of the research objectives is to better understand the need of youth, as mentioned by Lara Storm. Involve the youth in the process is important, and to understand youth perception about existing financial services in the area. You know, in Indonesia, there's about 66,000 microfinance institutions and different type of MFI, from rural bank, cooperative, and bank. So we'd like to know what will be the perception on that. This is some findings. I will go directly to some findings. Did not discuss in depth about the data because you'll be very bored to death about it. Basically, what we found is the major financial need in life cycle for the youth is number one is education. They would like to have some money to continue their education. We conduct research in the rural area in Grobogan. And number two, the most important for them is health expense. And then you can see housing, marriage, and others is decreasing. And then the important product attributes for saving, as Laras mentioned before, is really consistent. They need first is security. They would like to see that the institute offering saving must be trustworthy in the community. And they would like to see the evidence of the saving. It means that they would like to see the building, the office of the MFI that mobilized the saving. They would like to see the evidence like a passbook and something like that as written. And they also would like to have withdrawal should take minimum time after making request. So they should have a quick withdrawal time. Do not need to wait, something like that. While they demand for the preferred credit or product, the number one consideration is interest. They don't want to have a high interest for loan. Second, they would like to have a more flexible purpose of loan because we conduct a survey and when we ask, okay, if you got a loan from a financial institution, how are you going to do it? Number one, they say is we'd like to top up our mobile phone. So they would like to use it for the mobile phone because I don't know in your country, but in my country, like in Philippines, Facebook and Twitter is very booming. Everyone get access to mobile phones and the most important thing to do is they probably cannot, they said, it's okay for me to not eat for one day, but if I cannot access my Facebook for one day, I will die. So that's the important thing. This is the attitude, so I think that's important and also a shock for us because they said, it is okay, I don't have to eat, but I need to access my Facebook now. So this is the suppliers profile. So in Indonesia, you probably recognize BRI and Bank Mandiri. Some of them see that they have a good security, liquidity, privacy, and everything you can see, but then disadvantage is they're not designed to serve the poor. It means they have to travel quite far. It takes like between 1 hour to 2 hours, so they can reach the brand office. How about the cooperative? They say they have a limited funds. So if you go there and say, I would like to borrow money, and say, oh, we don't have the money, sorry. So come back next year. So they have to decide that. And then government program, like in other government program, is mostly project approach and unsustainable. And this is Arisan. If you know that Arisan is like a Rosca in other countries, so you chip in together and in the end you get some money for it. And the most famous financial institution in Indonesia is Moneylender. I think they are the one who can run away with charging without signing up any client protection thing. And then, they charge 10% per day. So if you borrow in the morning for 100,000, then you return it in like 110 by the end of the day. But they are very famous because you can access money very quickly. You just come today, I need to borrow money, and they say, okay, this is the money. But if you don't pay, they will come to your home and yelling at you like they're, your mother-in-law yelling when you get mad. So you will hate that. So this is our segmentation. We identified 3 segments. The number one is, the first segment is age group between 15 to 20. Mostly students, unmarried, depend on parents, and they need financial need linked to aspiration. So like the top up to a mobile phone, to buy new model of mobile phone. When the new model come up, they say, I want that. New model of clothes, shoes, handbags, anything like that. And they need for regular finance, they need primary savings. And they already established what they call as a youth clubs. So we will have a financial education component for this segmentation. The segment 2 is age group between 20 to 25. They're newly married. And the aspiration to starting business, probably renovating house, and mostly dependent on husband. Husband often migrating laborers because all the participant is women and more credit oriented. So for segment 3, they get married and then have 2-3 child and then aspiration of child future. So they start thinking about insurance, education insurance for the family, for the kids, and mostly in share goat and cow racing activity. This is in rural area. This is like a segmentation preference. The green one is the one that they prefer most by the youth. So for example, like 15 to 20, they would like to have maturity benefit saving for operation, uneven amount of saving so they can put money, how much little it is, and regular saving. For 20 to 25, we would like to have security, and then doorstep delivery, it's mean that the field staff who come to them, and then for the 25 to 30, they would like to have low interest, high return, everyone want that, right? So, and then would like to Sharia-based return. Sharia is basically a Muslim scheme of financial when you have a profit sharing component on it. So this is like our saving product, like probable saving product features. Like basically this is what the proposed product that we will design. You will have the complete presentation and the PowerPoint, I believe, and you need the complete report, and you can ask me, then I can send it to you. So this is like the expectation from saving product, desktop delivery. They would like to have group-based system. They can withdraw anytime they want. So for example, like they say, if I can withdraw twice a day, then it's better. The more I can withdraw, that's better. So they would like to have more flexibility on that. And they also would like to have some lottery, because lottery is fun, according to them, right? So one of the design of the product is they would like to, we will have this kind of lottery. So by one they can have like new mobile phone or something like that, so to attract youth. This is the proposed product of the saving as a follow-up of what we have found. So I would like to have this product in partnership with our friend Komida, who is here, I think, Bu Sri Mulyani. And this is how we would like to have also for asset and recurring deposit. I'm not going through to the details, but basically I think it's covered mostly what Lara said, that it should be flexible, should be a bit different, should design in more convenient with pink color probably, as Lara said. But in our context in Indonesia, it's difficult to just justify color, because if you put one specific color and they say from which political party are you come from? Say if you say red, they say okay, you're coming from that political party, and the other say no, you are here for political reason. So that's very biased. That's why we should be very careful. So we choose either black or white, or black and white. I don't know. We should see. But that basically some consideration that we have in Indonesia. So this is our plan. So for the first 1 year, we will introduce the short-term recurring deposit and working capital loan. After we can able to build confidence and then trust from the clients, from the youth, we will then introduce more product, like long-term recurring deposit, short-term loan, and business capital loan. And after 1.5 years, we will introduce what we call savings matching loan. So we have like a step-by-step how we introduce the product and how we justify that with the product. Okay, so thank you. I would like to close with one quote from about youth. So this is a story about a young man who walked into a house, and this is he lived alone with his father, and he said he ran away panting and almost exhausted, right? And the father said, "Hey son, what's up? What's happened?" And he said, "Father, I just found a new way to save money. I ran all the way behind the bus, and I saved $1. You imagine this is great, right? But the father said, "Oh, that wasn't too smart. Why don't you run behind the taxi and you can save $10? So basically, there's some intention from youth to do financial service, but they definitely need guidance and mentoring from much older people like us, like family, like community, so they can do, this properly. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Franz. Bringing some humor is always helpful, so appreciate that. Chandula, please.
Thank you. With regard to the youth, I think if the youth have spoken very loudly, I think Sri Lanka is one place. Because in the year 1971, the youth of this country want to topple the government, and very violently. The very first time, they took arms to their hands, and I was at the age of 15 at that time. Right across the country, they tried to topple the government very violently. And it got repeated in the year 1989. And in 1971, nearly 30,000 youth in this country lost their lives. So in 1989, also same amount of youth lost their lives. The recently concluded war, also majority is a youth involvement. And again, nearly 40,000 youth lost their life. And I think nearly from 1971 to this year, probably over 100,000 youth lost their lives in this country because they were not included, and there is an issue of inclusion. And that's what I said, in this country, youth have spoken very loudly because we have a system of free education and free health. It's remarkably, compared to any other nation in this part or any other part, is a very significant social benefit that is given. As a result of that, we have about 96% literacy rate. The youth are fairly educated, but access to financial services, access to youth empowerment was not there. And that's why it's very important that we, the bank that I work, recognize as a business entity, as a national bank, our thriving, leave alone our thriving, our survival depends on the peaceful environment of the country. And that's why in the 1989, soon after the second youth uprising in this country, that we embark on two important initiatives. One is to move into the rural areas, create access to youth for the financial services. Second is most of the youth go through the school system and again build relationships to the youth through the school system, and we created the school youth banking program. You see, the concerns and issues relating to youth is common in this region and probably many parts of the world. The access to education is a critical, and I think in this country we have that, and we have very high literacy rate. But what happens is, what is lacking in this country was the skills literacy levels. And we also find in the world today, youth are very vulnerable, and they are the ones who get involved in trafficking, drugs, addiction, and prostitution. Then the health and the poverty is another critical area for the youth in the world. And you know, the victims of armed conflict. And you know, in our own country, we have witnessed child soldiers. And also a lot of young people are involved in this, and they could be easily swayed away the wrong direction. Another challenge that we have is, with regard to the youth, is unemployment and underemployment. And all these are concerns, probably not only in this country, in all the countries that you represent, particularly Asia and Africa and South America. And in the light of this, we have to look at what is the critical responsibility, because we are in a world where you see an aging population. Except probably South in Africa, most of the other countries have aging population. Probably another 5 to 10 years' time, every one youth would have to take care of 8 to 10 adults. And that's why today, if we don't get access to the youth today, our adults are their future is at stake. Youth unemployment at all-time high today. Unemployment among the youth at age 15 to 24 has been ever increasing an unprecedented level ever since the global economic crisis. Youth unemployment today stands at 13%. Globally, 90% of the youth are living in developing countries. In Asia, contribute to 55% of. Young people are 3 times more likely to be unemployed than adults. As the youth are increasing, but their unemployment also further increasing. So the youth employability and micro-entrepreneurship. And these are 3 words which I presented to you at the beginning of the forum on 13th morning. And education and skills development is critical to move youth into entrepreneurship. And also empowering them by creating access to capital. And you see today, as I think my previous 2 speakers said, that the youth are a different group of people today because of the technology, because of the knowledge, because of the literacy level. And they want to move faster than when we were youth in our time. And they are easily